Hello everyone, my name is the Phawx, and we're going to be showing you how to replace a battery on the GPD Win 2. This is the battery that it comes with. This is a spare battery that I have. You can see the little adhesive strips that are not peeled off just yet. Here is the connector. It's a really tiny connector. And it looks like there's two screws on this. I haven't opened it up yet, so this is going to be kind of a discovery as we walk through it. As you can see, it says 5,000 milliamp hour at 7.6 volt. It is two 3.8 volt batteries layered on top of each other, each one being 5,000 milliamp hour, but doubling up so that we get 7.6 volts. My tools are just going to be a little screwdriver set and a plastic spudger. This one I've used like hell. You can see that this, normally when they sell them, there's like a good hook on this so that you can get in. Thankfully on the GPD Win 2, it looks like it's a bit easier to open over the Win 1. The Win 1, it opened from on the inside right here, so you had to kind of pry at the inside to get at it. On the Win 2, there is this seam that goes all around the circumference of it. So we'll go ahead. Alright, so I've already moved my USB drive and the micro SD card out of this. We're also going to remove the SD card slot here. So let me go ahead and grab a tiny screwdriver. And this is the 2242 Phawx SSD. It's 128 gig. Pop this up and out. Take a closer look at that. You can see right there that it is Phawx and 128 gig. Here's most likely the storage. Okay, we'll put that on the side. Now there's one thing that I like to do when taking these apart is, let's take a look at the connector right there. That's really nice. It looks really flush. Alright, so let's identify all the screws that we need to undo. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can I get the camera to show? Yeah, 6 and 7. Is that right? This might be double. Let's go ahead and start unscrewing these. It's a new type of setup that I have, so please bear with me while I try to unscrew these. Alrighty, so I went and got some different screwdrivers. These are like jeweler screwdrivers. This one comes with a lot of sets for opening up smaller electronics, and this is a jeweler's type of screwdriver. I'll try to use this because this one goes kind of deep. Oh yeah, this one fits perfectly. Nice, let's go. Nice. Alright, so there's 7 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 screws in total. They're all the same size, thankfully, so you don't have to worry about trying to keep orientation or wondering which ones are which. Generally speaking, when you do unscrew electronics, I'd recommend putting them in the order how you are on opening it. So if it was, opening up the bottom of the case and it was like this, I recommend lining up screws so that they kind of match the way that you've been unscrewing them. But in this case, since they're all the same screws, it doesn't really matter. Now we've undone all the screws and the SSD card is removed. Everything that we can get out of this is gone. So now we're going to go ahead and take this prying tool and we're going to, we're going to go in right here. Now this prying tool isn't the best, but you don't want to use anything too sharp. Your fingernail. Don't use a a flathead screwdriver to open this up, because you're just going to mark up the side of the case. There's just all these like little clips, and you just kind of want to kind of wedge it around. And this is true for pretty much all electronics, but thankfully this one is way easier to get at. So just kind of find a seam, kind of run your way through it. All right, and we're getting in there. Whoa. This would be much easier if I had a plastic spudger that wasn't so abused and used. But I went into a lot of electronics with this plastic spudger. There we go. And there we are. So we've cracked the shell. Now very carefully, this is a critical part here. You want to be super careful with how you're doing these things. Now once you've gotten most of the case open, we have to worry about ribbon cables, and as you can see there's some cable stuff going on right over there. So we want to be very careful, especially with regards to the analogs. This one looks like it's already loose coming out, so it might not be a part of the case. Alright, so we've undone that, and this is the bottom of the case. This is the cooler. Oh yeah, look at that. So this is actually pretty easy to replace the battery. It's right here. And here's the heatsink and fan. Look at that sucker. So that's the cooling system for the Wind 2. That's super impressive. Okay, but as what we care about right here is the connector for the battery, and it doesn't look like it is screwed down. So we're just gonna go ahead and pop this out. All right, 1 second, let me put this down. All right, we're back in business. I'm gonna make sure that I'm recording here. Yeah. Okay, so now one of the things that you have to be careful of is that there's going to be some adhesive that is holding this battery down. So let's go ahead and make sure here is the Wi-Fi. You can see the Wi-Fi going over here and connecting over here. Looks like it's just soldered over here, and then the other part goes right there. That's interesting. That's an interesting connection. Thankfully, it looks like repasting the heatsink is going to be pretty easy because we just have to undo this part right here. But it looks pretty solid. So I'm not going to worry about that right now, repasting. Right now, let's just go straight in and take a look at getting this battery off. All right, so it doesn't look like anything is holding it down. Yeah, it's just adhesive. So this is another instance where you don't want to be using any metal to be trying to dig this out because it's held in with adhesive. So go ahead and take your plastic spudger, and you're going to want to go ahead and get underneath this little clip and just kind of pry it open, pry it up. Just like that. Just popped up. And this way you're not going to be doing any damage to the main board with this plastic spudger. It's going to be hard. So now we have to try to pry this battery out of the cavity. So let's see what we can do with this spudger. Here are the speakers. So we want to be careful. It looks like the best point of entry is going to be right here. So let me see how I can dig in this. Otherwise, the other point of entry is over here. And we try to pry it up. Let's go in here, try to get underneath the battery. It's going to be hard to get underneath it. Let's go right here. I think our best point of entry. I don't want to, here, let's try to go here because we'll just be contacting the metal plate and try to pry at it without really affecting this cable too much. Let's try to be mindful of this Wi-Fi cable because it is kind of just floating around in here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull at this Wi-Fi cable. Okay. We'll get the Wi-Fi cable kind of just out of the way, kind of just tuck it back. Can you see it right there? So that we're not pulling at the cable itself. Alright, and let's... Can I just get at it with my finger? Okay, so we're slowly getting it out, but you can also see we're separating, physically separating the adhesive layer between the two batteries itself, but just a small but constant force getting it out, and there we go. Ooh, look at that, I bent my battery getting it out like that. Alright, well, good thing I had a spare battery. Alright, so this says, oh, this is from Sunda. This is 4900 milliamp hour battery at 3.8 volt. So it's just two. Okay. All right. And then this one itself says, okay, so this is a different model. All right. So there we have the base. Okay. Now, again, be mindful that we don't do anything. Let's keep this Wi-Fi cable out of the way. And then we're going to go ahead and place this down. But first, remember to undo your adhesive strips right here. Okay. Alrighty. And then we're going to kind of glide it in at an angle right there. And make sure that we're not messing up with this Wi-Fi. Keep that out of the way. Okay. Keep this side out of the way. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. These are just pigtail leads, so you can go ahead and unplug that just like that so that you can make sure that we don't have to worry about it. This part over here is soldered, but we can just make sure that we get out of the way of there, put it in. All right, and push it down so that the adhesive sticks. Alrighty, we're in there. We'll put the Wi-Fi back in a moment. Let's have the Wi-Fi over this cable. It really seems like I should have had screws in here, but again, this is like an early prototype, so mine probably doesn't have screws. The only thing you want to do is just kind of line it up right in here, and then you're just going to push down until you hear it click into place, okay? Just like that. Okay, so that's connected. All nice. All right, let's go ahead and reconnect the pigtail lead over here. We're gonna come down and kind of gracefully put it back in right here. And then right over here you can see the pigtail lead is still not plugged in. We're gonna go ahead and plug in that pigtail. And this is pretty simple to come back in. It's just, it goes in one way. You'll hear it click. It's kind of a satisfaction. It's kind of a satisfactory click. There you go. Okay, so there you go. The pigtail lead is back in. Wi-Fi is back up. We have the Wi-Fi cable kind of tucked in underneath, out of the way of everything. There we go. You've just gone ahead and replaced your battery on your GPD Win 2. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. Alright, now before we put everything back together, we'll just kind of put it back together like this and make sure everything fits in, just so people can see how I do this. I prefer to put this in like that, so you're going to get these ports in first and then close down. Okay? Alrighty. So again, just clamp this side in first, and then once that's in, then you can close this side and let it click all around. Now before we screw everything back together, let's go ahead and just do the simple part with putting this in. So this only goes in, it goes in this way. Okay, we'll close this up without having to screw it in just yet. Okay, so it's going to be booting up now. Again, here's the old battery. That's all messed up. You can see that it's not plugged in. My battery is running low. Let's go ahead and plug in the battery. See a little battery indicator. And little indication that it's charging right now. Might as well show that. So it says 2 hours and 46 minutes until fully charged from 10%. So probably around 3 hours with rapid charging. This is a 15 watt charger that's connected to it right now. So that's it. These are the tools you're going to need. I still have to screw it back together, but that part's easy. You don't need to know how to do that. And that's how to replace your battery on your GPD Win 2. Thank you so much for watching.